make it better. Every word that God has pronounced over you, I prophesy that it's forming now. Yes, it's forming now. You ought to rejoice right now because it's going to happen. Yes. Everything I promise, I believe that it shall be. It's gonna happen. Oh, yes, it will.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God, please deliver us from evil. Oh, please deliver us from evil. And I know you can do it, 'cause thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory. Yeah. Hey, yours is the kingdom, the power and the glory. And I know you can do it. 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 God, I know you can do it. You have the power. You got all power. You got all power. It's in your hands. Please, give me Jesus. You're the great I am. And you're the only one who can save us. God, we're calling on you, 'cause you got our power. I said you got our power forever. You have our power, Jesus. You are Messiah. Yeah. Oh, that's why we call on you. Hosanna in the highest, our deliverer, strong tower, our mighty fortress, our reigning champion. You've never been defeated, never ever been defeated.
God, I know you're listening. Jesus, we come to you with the belief that our dilemma is intentional and we will achieve freedom and the victory over our insecurities. Our misery is prophecy fulfilled and molding us to be unique. There are things the enemy thought should lessen, but we believe. Don't just deliver me, deliver we from depression and things that are temporary. They crucified my Lord and Savior, pain's hereditary. Understand that life is scary, and we don't always know the power we possess. We don't always represent you wearing Christ across our chest. Forgive us, Father God, for keeping Jesus to ourselves and letting Satan trick us into thinking God is only worth his check. Deliver us from acts of sexuality. Awaken the minds of all your people sleeping on reality. Deliver us from acts of blasphemy and us pretending that we can't control the sexual parts of our anatomy. Lord, help us realize that it's not us in control. We stressing about which way to go and truly only you know.
The historic WDDO 107.9 FM and 980 AM. The Glory.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwenette, Westbrooks, and Mr. Dumas.
And good evening, and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host. I hope you're having a great evening this evening. I'd like to send a shout out to everyone who's listening to us. We'd love to have you join us here at 4 o'clock every Monday at WDDO, the Glory FM. And so, man, you guys ought to be tired from over the weekend. Particularly with Mother's Day, even though we celebrate Mother's Day and our moms who gave birth to us, those of us who are married, we also have to recognize our spouses. And so I'm sure most of you who were doing that had your hands full. If you were out and about trying to get dinner or take them out to a nice restaurant, you probably had some lines to stand in or some long wait times. Myself, I got a little smart, and I decided to every Mother's Day to prepare something for all the ladies in my life at my home. And so we had a wonderful time on yesterday, ate some good food, some good fellowship. And so that's what it's all about, remembering our mothers and those who still have their mothers, of course, cherishing their presence in their everyday lives. Also, this weekend, I had an opportunity to go down to Jekyll Island. My niece graduated from Coastal down there, Coastal College, and had a wonderful celebration. She was majoring in psychology. As a matter of fact, on my shirt, those of you who are in my Facebook, I got her T-shirt on here. And so we send shouts out to Gabby, who graduated from Coastal in psychology this past weekend. A lot of graduations taking place all around the community here locally. So there have been several graduation ceremonies and on the college level and otherwise. And so we're applauding all of you who may be receiving your diplomas, whether that's on the graduate level or undergraduate level, for your sacrifice that you've made to go to college and to do and improve your chances of a better education as well as employment. The biggest thing right now we are going to talk about is voting. That's the number one subject right now. Early voting has started here in Macon, Georgia, and so we hope that everybody's taking advantage of that. We've been trying to keep up with the numbers as people go out to vote. We gave a number of the areas where you can vote. The Lane Lucas Center down at Carroll Clayton Park, you can go there to early vote. Also, Thurin Urshery Park off Wimbish Road, that's another area as well as off Mercer University, of course, at the old Macon Mall. These particular areas, you could go and vote. And of course, on election day, you will have to actually, on May 19th, you will have to actually vote at your regular precinct. And so those of you who may have recently registered to vote or, voting in this election, be sure to go to your My Voters page to check your status and your district so you won't have any issues as to where you're supposed to vote. That's why early voting is important in case there are any glitches or any concerns. Those things can be rectified prior to voting. The ballots, of course, is sample ballots are out. And so if you want to be sure about how are you voting and you want to do it quickly, it's good to have a sample ballot handy, and you can see all the candidates. I'm looking here at the Democratic primary nonpartisan general special election ballot for May 19th, 2026. And on this particular ballot, of course, you got the United States Senate race, which is you've got John Ossoff running as, I believe, an independent, and also you've got for governor, of course, Keisha Lance Bottom, Olu Brown, Amanda Duffy. This is Geoff Duke Duncan. I'm probably tearing that name apart. Jason Esteves, Derek Jackson, and Michael Thurman that are running for governor. For lieutenant governor, of course, you've got Josh Malaran, Nabliblia Parks, and Richard Wright. These names are quite interesting, but that's on your Democratic Party ballot. And a number of other areas, of course, we got Secretary of State, Attorney General, Commission of Agriculture, Commission of Insurance, State School Superintendent, Commissioner of Labor, Public Service Commissioner for District 5, United States House of Representatives District 2, United States House of Representatives District 8, State Senate District 26, and State House of Representatives District 142. That particular district I wanted to talk a little bit about today, just to highlight those two candidates there in District 142, which we have running in that area. You have Miriam Parrish, and you also have George Thomas. Miriam Parrish is, of course, a fourth generation native of Macon Bibb. She comes from a large family with 5 brothers and 1 sister. Her parents are Jarvis J. and Mary D. Lucas. Miriam received her education from Bibb County Public Schools and is currently enrolled at Mercer University. With over 25 years of experience, Miriam is a veteran realtor. She's been actively serving her community since 2006, when she became a member and later president of the Macon City Council from 2011 to 2013. She serves as the Georgia State Senator, where she played a significant role in consolidating the city of Macon and Bibb County. Currently, she serves in the Georgia House of Representatives, where she is a member of various committees such as appropriations, education, K-12, tourism and economic development, special rules, and urban development. And she's being opposed by George Thomas, both Democrat running in this particular race. And Thomas is a lifelong resident of Macon and Newtown Macon's director of leasing. He says his campaign is about affordability, access to health care, education, and public safety. As a father and a member in the community, he sees the challenges firsthand and facing rising cost concerns about public safety and kids having real opportunities. Thomas says that it's time for new leadership that listens, shows up, and gets results. If elected, Thomas says his priorities would be expanding Medicaid, making it easier for first-time home buyers to access assistance, and increasing state funding for local school districts. Local school districts have to pay more than they had to in the past, and he'd like to see the state step up and help fill the gap, Thomas said. Thomas ran unsuccessfully for the Macon-Bibb County Commission twice in recent years. So those two candidates there that are running for District House of Representatives District 142. Miriam Paris and George Thomas. Those of you who have been following the news, we know that the Superior Court ruling on the Voters Rights Act, Section 2 of that act, we actually saw a step back over 60 years in, in fighting for voters' rights. And that particular case happened on April 29th, 2026. The Supreme Court 6-3 voted 6-3 Louisiana versus Callis. It significantly weakened Section 2 of the Voters' Right Act by limiting its use in challenging gerrymandered maps. The ruling imposes a higher burden on plaintiffs to prove intentional discrimination rather than just discriminatory results, impacting minority representation. Now, we know the importance of being represented. I see Patrick Davis says locally thus far in Bibb County, as of Saturday, May 9th, 5,112 voters from Bibb have cast ballots. Of the 512, of the 5,112, 2,981 are from Black voters. So thus far, after 12 days of early voting in Bibb County, 58% of the total vote are from Black voters. Okay, so we're getting the message out, and we're continuing to give the message out. I noticed that Water Board member Lucas was put out a video urging people to get out and vote, and the urgency to do so. One of the things we have to do is, we got to be urgent about things that are important. These days, we can't sit by and watch things happen. You have to be in the fight to make something happen. And one of the voices we still have is the right to vote. But we see there are many attacks to dilute our vote. And so we've got to have strategies in place to go against those things that have been put in place to take away our representation. Some of the impacts of the ruling from the Supreme Court is an impact on minority representation. Critics argue that this decision would allow states to systematically diminish the influence of Black and brown voters by enabling racial gerrymandering. And we know that there's been a domino effect with that across the nation as far as redrawing maps to significantly, disproportionately represent people of color. And it also says finalizing this decision in a 6-3 ruling on May 5th, 2026, the Supreme Court denied a request to delay the finalization of the decision, allowing it to take immediate effect. And so we saw the effects of that, of course, play out the last couple of days and weeks. And so, like I said, across the country, it seems to be a domino type effect. We saw what happened in Tennessee also. And so there are other states that we will find this to happen. And so we got to keep pressing forward to make sure that we're represented properly. It says contextual background here. It says in 2013, Shelby County versus Holder, the court previously weakened the Voters' Right Act by striking down the Section 5 pre-clearance formula, which required certain jurisdictions with histories of discrimination to get federal approval for election changes. And so that is probably no longer in effect. So where there's, even been known discrimination in certain areas, you would need that type of protections to secure the fact that voting would be fair across the board. But now those types of things are being taken away from us, and we don't have that leverage. Also, it's continued erosion. Legal experts describe this ruling as a continuation of the court's march to destroy the Voting Rights Act. It's partially damaged, but I'm sure the aim is to totally dismantle the Voting Rights Act. And so we've got to fight to keep that from happening. The Voters' Right Act's purpose, originally passed in 1965, the Voters' Right Act prohibited voters' practices that deny or bridge the right to vote on accounts of race, acting as a crucial tool against racial discrimination in voting. And so that's a big blow to protecting our right to vote. Patrick Davis says, locally thus far in Bibb County, there are approximately 29,000 Black Bibb voters who participated in the 2024 presidential election who have not cast a ballot as of Saturday, May 9th. Overall, there are 60,000 actively registered Black voters in Bibb. And so out of 60,000, we certainly would like to see a large number of people turn out. So we got to continue to get it out, get the word out, and do whatever we can as organizations to provide transportation for those who may not have a way to the polls. Now, we know that we have had some issues as it relates to making the election process available and accessible, particularly down at the Board of Elections. We had concerns about people who are handicapped and those kind of things having access. And there were some changes made from some of the suggestions that were given. But there are more that can be done, we feel, as far as making sure that people have proper access to voting. And as I did mention, those precincts are available. The 3 for early voting at Lane Lucas Center, Thurn Ursery Park, as well as the Board of Elections off Mercer University. And so the weather has been conducive. We can't use the excuse of bad weather as far as taking time to get out and vote. Even though we get a few showers late in the evening, it hasn't really deterred a lot of people from voting. Switching gears just a little bit, the NAACP, we are continuing to have membership drives to get people to join us and to be a part of the Freedom Fighters action. We are continuing to fight and to do the things we know to do. Of course, we have a lot of different things at our disposal to help do that. We help with voters registration, of course. We attend our local meetings to make certain that we're informed on various decisions that affect the community, as far as things such as our local jail and some of the conditions with the jail. We understand there's a new administrator that has been hired for the jail. He has given some suggestions as to what he's targeting and some of the improvements. At least he has a plan in place to help improve some of the conditions and some of the issues that the jail has had over the past couple of years. I attended one of the county commissioner meetings, and I see there were monies that were allocated for the expansion, project for the jail. And of course, those monies would come from the SPLOS funds. And these are some welcome improvements, of course. Of course, it will not totally eliminate some of the issues with the jail because they need a new jail. And of course, the overcrowding of the jail has been an issue, as well as, some of the conditions there. I see here. Thank you for sharing. Patrick Davis said we have to pay attention to these local elections, such as the 2 at-large school board seats. Carrie Hatcher is running against Amy Martin, and there are 4 candidates in District 8. The 2 Black candidates are Carlos McLeod and Nola McFadden. These elections are important because there are discussions about consolidation or massively rezoning Bibbs majority Black public schools. And so, when we look at on the national level, it creeps down to our local level as for some of the same things that we're facing. And so these are important races. These are important seats here that we have to be conscious of as far as looking at change and different things that will affect us here locally. And so we do want to pay close attention to those at-large school board seats there. Very, very important. Also, there's some questions I have in front of me. I don't have both, but I do have the Democratic Party nonpartisan general special election. And just trying to see if the questions, they have the 2 questions here listed. State Democratic Party questions, one of them states, should the state of Georgia raise the sales tax on everyday items like clothing, food, and school supplies to pay for an income tax cut that would make millionaires and billionaires richer? Well, that's an interesting question with the cost of everything going higher in the grocery store. Those of us who bought groceries over the weekend, we know that the prices are up. And so I don't think a lot of people would be looking for their clothing bill to go up or their food or school supplies. But these are questions that are on your ballot. Also, it says, is it ethical for political candidates who have used their public offices to enrich themselves and their families to have had nearly $1 billion of business dealings with the state of Georgia to hold statewide offices? And so I guess that question deals with does a person qualify if they've done those kinds of things to run for a statewide office? So those are questions we'll have to ponder, and many of you have already pondered if you've already voted early. These are some of the things you'll be faced with. Now, going back to the NAACP, our membership, we have a number of membership drives, and now is the best time ever to become a part of the freedom fighters known as the NAACP, that we can join in this fight to make sure that certain things are not done and other things remain in place as it relates to things that we fought for in the past. Membership rates for our organization have increased, but not from our annual adult fees. They're still the same. You can join our organization for $30. That's for the year. NAACP membership for adults, $30. Youth, $10. And you can mail that to the Macon Bibb NAACP, Post Office Box 6452, Macon, Georgia, 31208. And so we'd love to have you as a member. And we also have Silver Life memberships. We have Gold Life memberships, Diamond Life, and also Premier, which are annual payments that you can pay, and also corporate. So there are a number of ways to join our organization, and it's a great cause, and we continue to do the work, and we know that it takes money to represent people and to also push and to fight for justice here locally in our community and also in the state of Georgia. We also always want to acknowledge our president, President Westbrooks, on the state conference level for her work and her tireless efforts, because she's still a member of our local community. And of course, from the state level, there are a lot of concerns that she can address from that level to help with our local community. And so she's always hard at work representing you here in Middle Georgia, and also helping support our local NAACP here. Even though I'm the president, we still communicate all the time with various things that we're dealing with from a state level as well as a local level. And so we love your support. We hope you will continue to support this organization as we continue to represent the community, and as we continue to do what it takes to make sure that discrimination is held at a minimal level, and if possibly zero level. But we know that things are always happening. Some of the things we get to do in the community, we attend the local county commissioners meetings. We also attend the Macon Transit Authority, Macon Water Board, the Board of Education. We deal with housing issues. And of course, we deal with the local jail issues and conditions, which keeps us quite busy. Transit Authority, we try to make sure the routes are conducive to the needs of the people, as well as the cost, keeping the cost down for transit. Everything else is going up, and certainly, for people to use public transportation, they don't want to see that increase too much, because many people depend on the transit to get to work. And so these are things that we do, and you can join the fight with us by joining the organization to help ensure and to be a watchdog, if you would, by attending these meetings. Of course, I can't be in all these places at one time, and so we have to spread the love with our members that's a member of this organization. So we'd love to have you come aboard as well. There are 2 state Supreme Court elections on the ballot. The candidates who are most likely to protect voting rights are Miracle Rankin and Jean Jordan. These are on the Democratic ballot. So make sure you're looking at that particular part of the ballot, and make sure you complete your ballot. If you get a sample ballot, that way it prepares you prior to going in to vote, and that way it gives you an idea of how you're going to vote, and you have time to really put some thought into it, instead of sometimes going in and not knowing a whole lot about the candidates. Also, the Board of Education meeting is this Thursday, which is not the normal day that they meet. The business meeting is at 4:00, and the regular meeting's at 6. Vote will be held on the budget. And according to this, Mr. Hatcher says we need a large turnout at this particular meeting. And numbers matter. It's the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. And so numbers do matter. When we show up, we can hold people accountable for the decisions that they make. When people make decisions and you're not around, they don't feel any type of guilt about it because they don't have to face you. But when they're faced with the constituents and the people who elect them, then that's a whole different deal. So you have the opportunity to hold your Board of Education people accountable by showing up to this meeting on Thursday. And so if you have a chance, come on out. It's at 6 p.m. And of course, we'll have representation from the NAACP present. Well, thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you next week. So have a great evening.
Come join us next Monday at 4:00 p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants